Hey, so welcome back to Metal Health. We're doing a pretty special episode this week or month or whenever the hell we're putting this up. We went to Techfest and we're doing a little bit of a review through kind of reactions and interviews really, and just playing a few songs throughout it. We initially went just off the back of reviewing it and doing something for the podcast, but we got given some great opportunities by the organisers and the PR companies there. So we just want to do a little bit of a shout out first. James and Hannah at Hold Tight PR, you were great. Rachael at ENSO Management for hooking us up with Fractions. Shaun at Loki Films, always a dude. Jake at Miscreant for agreeing to an unprompted interview really. All the stewards who put a ton of hard work into some brutally hot conditions.
Yeah,
that shit was crazy. Festival or not, that was fucking hot. And obviously Simon Garrod for organising the whole thing and just generally being an awesome dude. So yeah, what we're going to do, we're listening to Fractions in the background because we got given the opportunity to interview them, and they're an up-and-coming new band. This was from their EP, which came out 2016, I believe, and they're also working on new stuff, I believe, from their bio.
Bloody nice fellows as well.
Yeah, they were dudes. They were all good. We spoke to Christoph, Chris, Tony and Lee from the band. They're great dudes. We're going to just probably segue straight into the interview, so enjoy. Hey, so we're sat here with Fractions from Leicester. We're just going to ask them a few questions and see how the set went really. I really enjoyed it, Terry really enjoyed it. It's hot as balls in that shed, but it's all good. Right, so our first question is, how's it feel to play Techfest?
Yeah, unbelievable really. Like I've said before, like a dream come true. You know, it's every band plays playing a festival like this, you know, dreams about it, so it's mega. We're super stoked to be invited here, and it makes the double header that we did with Raging Speed on in the evening and Tech Habilitation as an audition for it in the morning. London to Leicester in 2 hours. So yeah, no, honest, we can't thank the guys enough, and our management as well, for having us and making it all happen. Mega.
So you're sticking around all weekend, or are you heading off to any other shows? Or
no, we're here for the weekend, aren't we? Well, no, I wasn't, but yeah, now my wife's decided we're camping as well. So yeah, so we're stopping now. So yeah, my wife decides things for me now. So yeah. So yeah, we're going to enjoy some bands, have a few beers, and because this is the first time any of us have actually been, so it's nice to sort of soak it all in really, and yeah, here to have a good time now.
Excellent. So I see from your bio that you're working on new material at the minute, from your self-titled, your EP that I think was last year, was it? It was 2016.
Yeah, we took our time really with the first record. We were finding our feet as a group of people. We've been friends for years, but took us a bit of time to find what we wanted to do. In that process to do that first EP, we've got a number of tracks that didn't make the cut for that just because we weren't at the point where we felt we were finished, and we've also had another 12 months of writing other material, so a lot of things in the pipeline, but just taking our time like we did with the first one. We don't want to rush, and we don't want to do anything that we're not happy with, but we're looking to do something sooner rather than later. No dates around it at the moment, but there'll be something coming soon, so all good stuff.
Cool, sounds good. So that's something that I find a lot of bands tend to not do, is that they'll just push an entire album. That'll be like a 10, 11, 12 track album, when really only about 5 of them are real good songs. So I appreciate the EP really. What's your plans after Techfest? Have you got any tours or anything?
Yeah, so next Friday we're over in Wrexham with Malham Sky for the weekend. So Wrexham Friday, Southampton at the Firehouse on Saturday, and then possibly a London date to be added to that for the Sunday. We're just waiting for confirmation from ENSO. Then after that we've got Badger Fest up in Manchester, which we're super excited about. That's going to be at Rebellion in Manchester, which is going to be awesome. We've got a show at the Queen's Hall in Nuneaton, which is kind of a localish show for us, so it makes life a little bit easier. No. Yeah. And then we've got a music expo in Bath at some point, and that's September time. Yeah. So there'll be a sort of an ENSO stage there where they're showcasing some of the bands from the management roster. So. Well, yeah. We'll see. Yeah. We'll wait and see. But yeah. So other than that, it's just writing and getting stuff ready when it's ready. So yeah, exciting times.
Fantastic. I noticed that Rachael at ENSO's really proactive on getting shit done. So that's great. She hit me up on Facebook Messenger. So that's cool. What's the scene like in Leicester?
You sure you're all right?
I think so, yeah. I can always pass it on if not. The scene in Leicester is incredibly strong. There's some incredible bands around the Leicester scene, spearheaded by some really good promotion companies as well. Resin Events, a guy called Simon Yarwood, has pretty much locked the kind of Leicester and the Midland scene down, hasn't he? Yeah, reinvented it. It was flat for many years. And he's just lit a fire under its ass. There's some great bands coming out, which is great for all of us because we get to play with a lot of really good bands as well within the local area.
Steps you up another level.
It does absolutely. It kind of pushes you to be as good as you possibly can be. So yeah, I think it's as healthy as it's ever been.
I agree.
The Leicester scene, absolutely superb.
Is there any
Oh. Absolutely, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, the first one I've got to mention is a band called Internal Conflict. We've been friends with those guys for years and years. Some of us childhood friends with some of the members. Incredibly good heavy metal band. Incredibly tight. Fantastic to watch live. They played Bloodstock a few times. Yeah. They were on Sophie stage last year. You got Resin again making massive waves all over the country really. We can't forget the Mighty Blood Oath. Another great band. We kind of battled with those during the kind of local Metal to the Masses last year. Got through to the final, obviously against them and a couple of other bands. They pipped us at the post, sadly, but we've remained incredibly good friends. Just great at what they do. But there's almost too many bands. I mean, you've got like My Legacy, you've got just ubiquitous Seven Hells.
Yeah, you just keep going.
Yeah.
The scene in Leicester is just quick to gear that I think we've been waiting for maybe five or so years. Most of this band, Fractions members, have been in different bands across the last 10 to 15 years probably, and we've been kicking around waiting for something like this explosion. I mean, obviously we've now got the Uprising Festival at De Montfort Hall. That is again establishing Leicester, and it's driving everybody to be a bit more proactive and a bit more professional, and everybody is just countrywide now. In fact, pretty much worldwide really. We've got people out in Bucharest today. We've played in Russia and all manner of stuff. So Leicester is healthy and strong, and we're coming for the rest of the UK. Let me tell you, we are gonna take over. Conor McGregor for you there.
That's real good to hear, because there's a lot of places around the country that doesn't appear to have any kind of scene at all. Unfortunately, where we're from, Lincoln doesn't really have that many bands. Mark Defiled, but we say farewell to them pretty much at Techfest this year. Which albums have made the most impact on you and your sound, really? So I think what I'll do is I'll pass this around, because obviously this is going to be an opinion piece. Yeah, we'll start that one.
Oh, mate, you would give me the hardest job. Misery Signals, of Magnum and Malice, yeah, they'd probably start with that, and then into some Tesseract stuff, Contortionist, most of the bands that are playing here this weekend, but the Misery Signals is the bit that changed me from being just solely metalcore into understanding that you can be beautiful and clean, and people do dig that as well as being heavy as balls and trying to get everyone moshing their heads. So yeah, for me that's a standout favourite of mine.
Right, okay. Yeah, I mean, for me, like through the whole of the 90s, pretty much all I listened to was kind of like old school, like Enya and old school hip hop. So like kind of, you know, Tupac and Snoop Dogg and all that kind of stuff, you know, which is all very kind of bass driven. Kind of moving to present time, I like a lot of funk music, kind of Mark Ronson, that kind of stuff. Heavier bands as well, Tesseract, Periphery, massive Deftones fan. So yeah, Michael Jackson, of course, yeah. Just for the dance moves that I try to throw on stage that I fail miserably at. But yeah, you know, my musical tastes are massively varied. I try to throw all of that into, or elements of it at least, into all of the kind of bass lines that I like for these guys and all that kind of stuff. So varied, I think, is the best way to put it.
For me, it kind of all started out with Iron Maiden. So I remember going to HMV with my pops. And he said, look, what album do you want to buy? And I had a look and said, right, that artwork looks seriously fucking cool, so they're gonna be good. So yeah, and I think he regrets it every day because he didn't see me for the rest of that weekend, you know. I was just locked away in the room listening to a Real Live Dead one, both discs on repeat, playing Championship Manager. So yeah, it was a great decision to get me out of his hair, yeah. But yeah, well, yeah, only occasionally. Yeah, only occasionally. But yeah, then moving on from Maiden, really, sort of the same stuff as Lee, like Misery Signals, Periphery. I think I need to go for rehab for my addiction to the Contortionist at the minute, because I just can't stop, and it's every time I listen to it, it gives me something new, and yeah, unbelievable. But yeah, just some other bands like Sixth and stuff that are all going to be here this weekend. Heart of a Coward were a big one as well. So I used to play with the Silosis boys back in Essex a while ago, and yeah, it's just gone from there really. But Maiden's the one, and I can't wait for August. Thank you.
And then I know for me it all started, a friend of mine did me a cassette tape, and on one side it had Smash from The Offspring, and the other side was Nevermind from Nirvana. And so sort of that kind of opened up a whole world of music, and then you start to get into heavier things. You discover like Rain and Blood, and then even getting further on with stuff like Prouder in the Yard, I think Destroyer. I really like that, and then sort of going further on now into got a bit, it's not even a secret shame, is it really? Folk metal is right. So yeah, there's no secret shame about it. I bloody love it. So yeah, the Napfog, the Fintroll album, was what sort of really sparked all that for me as well then. So yeah, all through there.
So that's like super interesting, because you got like a shit bunch of different influences there. It's great. Exactly. So the last question, this is going to be more of a signature question that we ask pretty much every band. So Metal Health Podcast has been created to be a kind of a cathartic output, and music helps all, really. So have you ever had a time when music has helped you kind of, I don't know, mentally or cathartically, whether that be a gig or an album or something that's really just like, you know what, this is you know, changed things for me?
I'll respond to that quite simply. I think for me, every single day, you know, every day is a different day, and it brings with it different struggles, and that's the way that people need to tackle it. You know, you get up, you turn the car on, and you go to work in some dead-end job, you know, just getting by, and you just think, well, what am I doing this for? You know, could be out in the wilderness doing what I want, but you've got bills to pay, you've got pets to keep, you've got cars to pay for, and whatever, you know. But the moment that you turn the ignition on and the CD player hits, or you know, whatever it is, it's always a good release, and you just go, actually everything's all right. You know, now I've got the music in my ears and it's all ringing. It's great. You know, so every day for me is a new day and a different struggle that it brings with it. But music's constantly there as an outlet to deal with it.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I've got at least 2 or 3 friends that have really struggled with depression and a few different bits and bobs where their life's gone off course a little bit and things have gone wrong. But the common denominator that's brought them out of it has always been being involved in music or going and watching music and doing things like that. I know one of our friends has got a bit of a struggle on at the minute, and playing a bit of guitar for a few hours and doing something like that absolutely changes the day around for him. So it really is important that you get from it what you need to get from it, and you can literally disappear into a different place just for a bit of respite, really. And again, I think the other thing is for every situation and everything you're doing, there's always a soundtrack for it. That's another common denominator. So whether it's a greatly energetic moment or if it's just sitting in the sun like we're going to be in a couple of hours time with a few beers, you know, the backdrop to all of that is great sounds and lots of diversity with music. So it's there, and people generally who latch onto it use it very well. Let's just hope people keep doing it and keep supporting music and using it for their own benefit, because it really can turn things around for you. So it's good stuff.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time, Fractions. We'll put your link up. We'll put your Spotify link up on YouTube and everywhere else. We're going to put it as well as the blog, so everyone can go check out your music. All right. Thank you.
Have a great weekend, guys. Thank you.
Hey, so that was Fractions interview, which was real cool. And they're a real nice bunch of guys.
Yep.
You can hit them up on their Facebook. You can get them on their Instagram, Bandcamp, Spotify, everywhere. You know where to look for music. You know, I always feel like I'm just preaching to everyone, but you know how to fucking look for music.
It's not hard, people.
No, I find it all the time. It's fine. What I wanted to talk about now, which we're leading into our, I guess, a reaction audio clip that we hit up, and we just decided to just do loads of them throughout the festival. When was the last time you heard a band or an album or something that just seemed to come out of nowhere that you'd never even heard of before, but just like excited you wildly? And I think mine, Slipknot debut album, that just appeared out of nowhere, and I was just like, holy shit, this is exactly what I need right now. What about you guys?
Good call on the Slipknot. I remember hearing Surfacing on a Metal Hammer cover CD, and it kind of got me looking out for the album. But I think it probably fits. Slipknot's debut album was 99, so I think this came out in 98, was System's debut album.
Yeah.
Is Toxicity a better album overall? Probably, but at the time, I'd listened to a good solid, and I think Terry's going to say something similar to me, but I'd had a good solid 5 or 6 years since like thrash, groove and death metal, and then this was like a bonkers mix. Yeah. So like you just said, look, for something that kind of came out of nowhere, remember people, this was pre-internet for most people in 1998. Yeah, blew my mind.
There was a time.
Blew my mind. Terry?
Mate, was the Korn's debut album. So yeah, like Jay just said, similar to him. I was listening to a lot of heavier stuff, and so yeah, at the time we saw it on MTV. Like, you know, the old adage now, as old folks can say, is back in the day when MTV actually showed music. The video for Blind came on, and it was actually Shaun from Loki Films. I was round at his house, and we both fucking sat and watched his video, and was like, what the living fuck was that? And we was up in arms about it, and we did everything. I think we even bought it in the CD shop in Louth, where we were from. We fucking got it on import.
I was about to say that one import.
Yeah, I think we paid through the fucking nose for it, but I know both of us ordered a copy of that, so that's mine.
Everything import if you're from Louth, do you?
Yeah.
So,
even the Louth's own sausages.
Wow, controversial. Well, I'm going to go straight into a reaction audio from when we came out from seeing Crystal Lake, which are a Japanese metalcore band. I think I spoke about them a little bit on the last episode when we were looking forward to going to Techfest. Live, holy shit. I ain't going to gush about them now because I'm just about to do that. But Check this out.
So, holy shit, we've just come out of seeing Crystal Lake at main stage, actually, despite all the other bands being on secondary stage today. I think Crystal Lake and Heart of a Coward are going to be on main stage, but that's fucking cool. Crystal Lake were so much better than I was expecting them to be. I didn't really have any expectations. I'd heard a couple of songs on their Spotify and YouTube and things, and god damn, they fucking slayed that shit. They had so much energy. What do you think of that, Terry?
Oh my god, I didn't even believe the energy, especially in them fucking sweaty ass fucking sheds. There was, how fucking hot it is in there. They did not stop. They were like fucking Duracell bunnies. What the? They just didn't stop going. It was all over the place. The energy, it was brilliant. Yeah, oh my god, yeah. Fucking brilliant. From a band, actually, that I don't know too much about before I saw them today. But holy shit, they've got a new fan in me. Jay.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of echo your two thoughts there. It's a shame this isn't a YouTube reaction video. I mean, we couldn't really filmed it in there because the noise would have killed the mic, but if it was a YouTube reaction video, you'd have seen my grin, and it's fucking huge. I had this big beaming grin. The stuff they threw in. So, I'm the same as Luke. I didn't really have that many high expectations going in. He said we're a Japanese metalcore band. Now, I love metalcore, so I'm like, well, yeah, in for a penny for a pound, I'll watch a bit of that. But there's so much more than that. Some of the riffs are quite thrashy. They'll open some with some sort of slow, clean, sort of proggy guitar lines, throwing in some drum and bass. They even at one point threw in the rolling chorus, that reminded me of Faith No More when like Mike Patton just out of nowhere throwing like a Christina Aguilera chorus or a Britney Spears chorus, or way back in the original 90s it'd be like Backstreet Boys chorus and New Kids on the Block. But that's the same trick that they did, and it was just like, it was bonkers. And you think, you know, if you roll that down on paper, and probably even if you're listening to this podcast right now, you'd be like, no way that fucking works. And I'd be with you totally. If I read this in print, I'd be like, this sounds fucking too bonkers. But in there, fuck me. They said they're going to tour in the UK, they said they're going back in November. Yeah, I'd buy the ticket. That's my endorsement. Back to you, Luke.
They were fucking sweet. I urge you, go check them out on Spotify, go check them out on YouTube, wherever you can find them. Crystal Lake, they're a Japanese band, named after the location in Friday the 13th, I believe, probably. But yeah, go check that out. We're going to try and see if we can angle our way a little bit of an interview in a moment. So hopefully you'll hear that later, but if not, too bad. So yeah, go check them out. Back to the podcast.
So what you're hearing in the background is Ginger, Bad Water. I mentioned this because obviously they were meant to be playing on the Friday night, Friday lineup on main stage. Unfortunately, they had to pull out.
About 3.
Yeah, it was about 3 p.m, something like that. They had to pull out due to, I think, visa issues, which was shitty. But Dali Thundering Concept got pushed up the bill into their slot, which is cool because I was looking forward to seeing them anyway. So what we're doing, we're just going to have a look at Fridays just to see who we were looking forward to and who we were, I don't know, we just spotted right away off of the bill. For me, it was, from second stage, I really wanted to see Miscreant. They were awesome.
I think we spoke about them on the last episode.
Yeah, we mentioned Miscreant as one to check out. We've got actually a Miscreant song coming up and an interview with the boys, so that'll be cool. But what were you looking forward to seeing on the Friday? I mean, for me, it's all about the Contortionist, and it always will be.
Yeah, for me, I was going to watch Contortionist. I wouldn't say it's what I was looking forward to the most, but I'm not one of these, they got softer. I remember listening to the last album, getting a train back home from Glasgow last summer when it first came out, and listening to it. Yeah, it's mellow, but it's not as bad. So I was going to check them out, but for me it was Miscreant, same as you, and Unprocessed on the second stage.
They were cool.
And then on the main stage, Dali Thundering Like Yourself, From Sorrow to Serenity, and Bleed From Within.
Yeah.
They were my sort of picks for Friday.
Well, mine more or less the same. There's not too much difference, but I was looking forward to Dali, Thunder and Concept playing, Bleed From Within, Contortionist, and well, we didn't see much of Sixth though, did we? But
I've seen Sixth before.
Yeah.
Sixth are always good. I feel like Sixth is sometimes a love them or hate them band. I feel like I love them because I grew up with them. I mean, I think sometimes if you didn't, you don't get it. I think you've mentioned before, Jay, some little gripes you have with Sixth.
Yeah, it's not the musical stuff, it's more the singer's attitude, but the music as well. It's weird. On paper, I should love it, but it just doesn't gel for me. But you know, that's the thing. Music is subjective, so I'm not going to. You know what? I don't ever want our podcast to become. You know, we reviewed some albums where we've been underwhelmed by them, and that's all I think we'll ever say as reviewers or something is. This isn't
Got to
for
be honest,
me.
don't you?
I'm not going to go. This sucks. This band is crap because.
It's not the way of things.
Just because I don't like it doesn't mean other people do.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, they're not for me, but you know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly. Not every
Blow
band.
your skirt up, mate.
You ain't got to love every band. That's the thing. If you got your reasons, sweet. But what we're going to do now, we're going to go into the Miscreant interview. But just before that, we're going to play "Let Tomorrow Die," which was a 2017 single that they released. So check it out.
Hey, so we're sat here with Miscreant. If you remember from the last episode of the podcast, we said that they were on to watch at Techfest. We're just going to ask you a few questions about the festival, about band, and where you're going in the near future. So firstly, how does it feel to be playing Techfest?
I definitely feel like playing Techfest, it's a big step up for us. It definitely didn't sort of hit till we got here. And it wasn't until we were going on stage it sort of hit like, oh, holy shit, we're like playing Techfest. But yeah, it's been an awesome experience so far. Like we've not stopped since we've got here, and this is a sort of like first bit of rest we've got.
Well, one of my favourite bands, Ocean's 8 Alaska, played Techfest last year, and it's been you saw them, amazing. Right? It's just been amazing just to play, following their sort of footsteps, and eventually, hopefully, we'll be up at their level as well, playing the rest of the things, stuff like looking up to things like Download, Warped Tour, eventually.
Well, getting your sights high, yeah. Now, obviously, from the stage, you'll realise that Techfest is a ridiculously hot area, and you're playing in a tin shed. Outside of Techfest, what's the hottest and stickiest venue you've played thus far?
The hottest and stickiest venue so far.
I don't think anything can compare to this.
Well, nothing compares to this. That was like an oven. That was absolutely ridiculous in there. But
Still not cooled down.
other than that, I think actually my personal experience, it wasn't playing with Miscreant, but I think the Shed in Leicester was a ridiculous venue. But with Miscreant, Eastbourne, what was the venue in Eastbourne? That was London.
No, Blue Bar.
The Blue Bar. There were so many blue places on our tour. So Bar Blue in Eastbourne, that was really hot. It was right next to the window. It was a nice sunny day at the seaside. So exactly that. It was ridiculous.
When's new material coming out?
So at the minute we're actually working on EP number 2. It's really cool because this time we're working with George Lever, who's done some notable bands like Loathe, Holding Absence, Sleep Token as well. George is absolutely amazing, and he's incredible at what he does. Just now, without giving too much away, we have pretty much finished the record. On a release date, it will definitely be before this time next year, so hopefully another good reason for us to play at Techfest next year. Because it comes down to things like George being available for us to go to his studio, time off for us and stuff like that, from having a balance between playing gigs and then recording. But no, you'll see some new music. We've got a sort of special release just as a one-off single coming out soon. It's something that's quite close to us personally, so that'll be coming out in the next month or two, so keep an eye out for that.
It seems to be a common thing actually, because didn't Fraction say the same thing, that they're just bringing out a one-off song way before their EP, so it seems to be quite a popular thing with bands and digital music. Just picking on something you said, this is a question that I've got in mind. Jake, we both work for the same large company. I read a lot of interviews with bands, and let's be honest, this is not a scene that makes Metallica money. So I'm just kind of wondering, what advice would you give to young bands who've kind of got a balance doing something they love like music, but you've also got to earn money with a job? What tips do you have?
It's a hard one. The first thing, it has to come down to dedication. You have to be willing to go for it. And it also, as bad as it sounds, I'm a promoter in Nottingham, and I say that to bands that sort of want to give up too easily, you can. You've literally got to give it all or nothing. The advice I would give from personal trial and error is just look at the bands that are doing awesome, and even though it's expensive, put the right money and time in. Get yourself some demos, get yourself like a good promos, artwork done for your EP. Make sure you're sort of sending it out to people beforehand to be like, look, this is sort of like what we've got coming out. Send out to labels even if you're just starting out, be optimistic about it. But you've just got to keep on going at the start. You've got to keep on messaging and emailing promoters being like, can you get us on this gig? Because I found out this the hard way. There is no one way about doing it. It's just doing all these right things. You've got to go to the shows, stick around to watch all the bands. You've got to constantly hassle promoters. You've just got to do anything you can. You've got to speak to other bands that are bigger than you and just try and get on with them. But the thing is, to be honest, especially in the Techfest scene, I feel it's more like a community, like a family, so it's great. But yeah, just keep going.
Cool. So some good advice there. So this is a bit more of an in-depth question to everyone, really. Which albums have made the biggest impact on you and influenced your sound? So I'll pass it around the table.
For me, what I usually say, especially with Miscreant, is sort of stick to your guns. Diamond is I just think the passion and what they have going for that is like beyond the music. You know what I mean? The stuff that they're singing about is so deep, and you know I can't listen to it unless I'm by myself and I'm like in the zone, because it's just too deep to listen to that stuff. Architects, obviously, new album, All Our Gods Are Abandoners, really personal stuff, definitely meaningful things I love listening to. The Ghost Inside as well, especially after their tragic accident. Do you know about that? Yeah. Amazing the support they've had from the fans as well, which just proves that what they're doing is just way beyond the music they're producing. It's a complete idea. So I'd say those three bands, I think, for me.
For me, it's still the same influences I had as a young kid. For me, the first guitarist I ever seen was Steve Clark from Def Leppard, and that's something that's just stuck with me throughout my whole life. Just the way he plays, comes up with the melodic sort of riffs, and I get even into like Miscreant, how we're like a metal band. That sort of influence still comes in it for me, and that's still who I look up to. Like a lot of 80s bands, Def Leppard, Motley Crue. That's sort of like my thing. Yeah.
I think for me, there's nothing particularly for Miscreant that influenced me towards playing this kind of music, but Nirvana were the big sort of impact on me when I first ever heard, as cliche as it is, and I hate saying it, Smells Like Teen Spirit. That's what got me started. I listened to that and I was like, that's what I want to go and do with my life. And from there, I'd ventured into like sort of the punky kind of world and got a real feel for some aggressive music. So I try and bring that kind of edge to my playing, just an aggressive bass line to lift and drive forward the rest of the stuff, and this melodic little guitar parts over the top. I think it works quite well.
I would have to say, for me, for influence is of the side of just like metal and what I enjoy personally, it would have to be Slipknot. Thinking back to albums like the self-titled and Iowa, even if you listen to our latest single, Let Tomorrow Die, there's a lot of like those very angry, aggressive sort of like Iowa influences in there. But for the influence for Miscreant itself, a lot of the influence actually came from a band called Sworn In. Heard of them? Yeah, Sworn In from, I think they're from like Chicago, Illinois or something like that in the States. It was that dark ambient sound, and it was more like it was just such emotional, intense vocals mixed with this heavy, chaotic music that sort of had these kind of genty grooves, I guess you could call it. And that definitely is, if you kind of listen to our whole EP, our single, and then even what comes next, you can hear that sound in it. But like it is, it's metal, it has to be angry and aggressive, it's all about getting that emotion out. If it wasn't, then we'd be doing something wrong.
Good stuff. That's some really good. I agree with a lot of those. So this is our kind of our big sort of question. So our podcast's called Mental Health. It is a play on the words of mental health. We started sort of the podcast and the website because we all three of us in it, all the other guys not here. We think that our type of metal's quite cathartic. When has music made a difference or helped you in how you're feeling?
I definitely say that music is always the biggest outlet in life, and it's always amazing, and I feel so thankful that I get the chance to do what we do today, especially from like our like EP entitled Live and Death, which gives the idea it's all about like depression, dealing with anxiety. And if you listen through the record from start to finish, it actually tells a story about this character and him sort of being in this suicidal state of mind, and then he more understands by the end of the record that this is just who he is, and it's kind of like that's the message of it. Like depression is something that doesn't go away, it's something that should be taken seriously, and there's a lot of people who can't cope with it, and you'll find in especially these sort of scenes, bands that sort of shout about mental health, it's not because they're sort of bragging rights or going everyone's sort of doing it as a trend, it's because it's personal experience. And I feel like people in this alternative scene, it is a community, it's like a sanctuary for them. They can adapt, they can join, and it is something that's personal. I know every member in this band, and everyone has their own experiences. So,
thank you very much for your answers. That's been Miscreant. You can check them out on their Spotify, YouTube, wherever you can get it. They were great, great bunch of guys. Back to the podcast.
So we got Sixth Vivid playing in the background because we were just talking about Sixth before the Miscreant interview.
Yeah, it was.
So what we're going to talk about now, we're going to do some reactions from Techfest. Well, we did do some reactions, but what the initial idea behind that was that we were going to have collar mics. We were just going to, when we've been to a show that just blew our fucking minds, we would go outside and we'd give like a review at the time. So whilst it's on your tongue, whilst it's in your head,
But they were going to be kind of like cue card notes that we were going to then go back home, type up,
yeah, we'd transcribe them
for like a future podcast.
Yeah, so we'd either do them on a future podcast, or we'd just write them up and put them on the blog, or I don't know, something like that.
But yeah, we ended up doing a lot more than we thought we would.
Yeah,
and they came out great.
Because I was asked by Rachael at ENSO Management to interview Fractions, I was like, right, shit, I think I need to go and get something better than just a little collar mic.
Those little collar mics that are the size of my little fingernail.
Because I mean, what am I meant to do with that? Ask a question and then hold this tiny little like 1p piece up to someone's face, and it's like, if you're going to talk into this.
Yeah, like you said about, you can spew into this. No, it wouldn't have looked right, would it, interviewing bands with that thing?
Nah, exactly. Because we'd got one interview under our belt, we were just like, okay, we'll go do that. And what we decided to do is actually just use the reactions in the podcast. It may be something that we just like continually do after gigs. I know that you were mentioning something, Joe, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, give us some feedback on this. Let us know what you think of it, but we got a real buzz because that's it, it'd be all three of us. So rather than three of us, we're going to have our own individual little collar mics, and we would all do our own little, well, I thought they played this song well, da-da-da-da. We'd just pass this one larger mic and thing around. The kind of buzz from us three sort of sharing was
I think
great.
it works a lot better.
It did.
To be fair.
I would like it if you start comment on our Facebook, comment on like on the YouTube where you can sort of post reactions, let us know your thoughts. But
don't be scared.
I think the way we do this, because like we said, like Luke said, we're going to kind of just transcribe it. You're going to forget stuff, and this is still truly unfiltered and honest. We've seen the band, we've paid well. Run out as much as you can when you're dying from heat exhaustion. Found a kind of quiet, shaded area, and then just literally sort of dumped what was in our brains for 3 to 5 minutes, and you'll tell. You'll be able to pick it up.
Exactly. You ever been to a gig and you're walking back with friends back to the train station or back to the car, and you're all fucking going off shit about, oh my god, did you hear them play that song, or whatever. You don't really have that same effect when you get back 3 days later and talk to someone about it, and you're like, yeah, it was good.
You've
just
lost
capturing that moment in time, innit?
Yeah, exactly.
You've lost the passion 3 days later.
Yeah. And you'll have to remember that all three of us were a reasonable amount of beers down as well at this point.
No,
so
never, not us.
I mean, most of the time, not you, Terry, because you were driving.
Yeah, true.
3 days.
Apart from Sunday.
Yeah. So we were a little drunk and a little leery, but I think it comes off in the passion of it. But we're going to go into 3 reactions, one after another. I'll separate them between just a little sound hint or something. We're going to talk about the Dali Thundering Punch. Dali Thundering Punch? What the fuck is that? The Dali Thundering concept.
Was that Bruce Lee's special move?
Yeah, why
not? Brilliant. I like that.
And also the Contortionist, which I was like all over, but as I say, I'm not going to go into it now because we're going to go straight into those.
3 very different bands though.
Yeah, and 3 that we were all looking forward to.
Yeah, hugely.
Yeah.
So
enjoy.
Here you go.
Hey, so we've just come out from seeing the Dali Thundering concept, band that I absolutely love, and newest album is fucking astounding as well. They did not sound good though. I don't know whether this was to do with the sound mix because they've been bumped up to main stage from the second stage, so I don't know whether the sound desk wasn't aware of their setup or some of their kind of samplings and things, but for the majority of it you couldn't really hear the guitar, drums and bass and vocals were like super loud in comparison. It just wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't blending, guitar wasn't cutting through. What do you reckon, Terry?
Yeah, basically I went down the front to take a couple of pictures. If anyone saw me, yes, I was that wanker with the iPad, but I don't stay down there all the time like some do. But yeah, I went down the front and there was some of the samples, they weren't cutting through, they were cutting out at the beginning of the set and everything, which was a shame because I think it could have been a really good set for them. But yeah, I enjoyed it nonetheless, but yeah, the sound just let it down. Jay?
Yeah, similar sort of sentiments, but that said, I think it's testament, like Luke said, the most recent album's really killer, and I think it's testament to the quality of the songs that, you know, I was doing the old head bob and you looked across the entire crowd and the crowd were doing the head bob, and I think that's the quality of the songs, is that Luke and Terry, you're both absolutely right, the mix was not great, you couldn't really hear the chunk of the guitars. Whenever the guitarist did a lead, yeah, because the lead was, like Luke said, they were high frequencies, you could hear the leads lovely, but when the guitarist was playing his rhythm stuff, he was drowned out by the bass and the drums. But that said, those songs have got groove and pop. They weren't just bopping the heads, they were sort of moving the bodies and stuff, and yeah, their songs have got groove, they're catchy, they're bouncy, a little bit funky in places, but also brings the mosh and it's quite heavy in others. So yeah, I'm with Luke. I just think because of that switch, because they took Ginger's slot on the main stage, I think there's been a little bit of, not miscommunication, but last minute rushing, which is a shame because certainly the quality of the songs is there, it's just the quality of the sound mix was missing. So enjoyed the set, but it could have been more.
So you should probably go check out their album on Spotify, because to me that sounds a lot better than seeing them live. I really think that the band are great, and I don't know whether this is because they're 8-string users and that just blends in with the bass, that it doesn't quite work 100% live. But they were good nonetheless. But they really should have had a better sound. Yeah, battled through it well. So anyway, back to the podcast. Hey, so we've just come out from seeing Bleed From Within on main stage, 6 o'clock. They were fucking incredible. They're like super tight. Exactly what we needed after, I don't know, the little bit of a disappointment with Dali Thunderwind concept earlier, but they were fucking great. Terry, take it away.
Yeah. Well, that was a well-needed pick-me-up, because it's getting on in the day, sun's been kicking our asses all day, and literally that's just a nice little pick-up that we needed. They thought they were fucking brilliant. Got the energy in the room was good as well. They played a mix of stuff from the new album Era and Uprising, which is their older album. But yeah, perfect set for me. I really enjoyed it. Jay?
Yeah, absolutely. What you've all been saying, they were tight as anything. I remember when I first got into this kind of music, and I'd like read Kerrang and Metal Hammer, and they talk about stagecraft. And when you're a 16-17-year-old kid, you've not been to that many gigs. That word has no context. You're like, well, what the fuck is stagecraft? Now, anyone who's 16 or 17-year-old who listens to this podcast might be thinking the same fucking thing. Get yourself to a multi-band, either if it's like an all-dayer gig with like 6 acts, or it's a festival. Watch the early bands who will just play, and then watch a later band, which is what we've just sort of seen now. So we watched some of the earlier acts today, and then you watch Bleed From Within. The singer knows that, obviously he's going to know his lyrics off by heart, but he knows when the drops are kicking in, and he knows how to cue to the crowd. You know, he hears that counting of the cymbal crash, and it's like he knows the beatdown's coming. He's acknowledging it to the crowd. The guitarists know, even they take a step back and they take a step forward. They're in sync, they're windmilling, they're putting on a show. That is stagecraft, but they've got the songs to back it up as well. So, yeah, fucking blown away. And again, I think we've kind of talked about this before with festivals. Are Bleed From Within the most technical band? If you think this is Techfest? No, but they've got the songs, they've got the riffs, they've got the beatdowns. Fucking brilliant. I feel sorry for whoever's following those in second stage after they finish, because tough act to follow.
The groove on these motherfuckers, so you ought to go and check them out on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you can get it as usual. Uprising, their last album, Era, the new album. Go check them out. Back to the podcast. So we've just walked out from seeing Contortionist live, and holy fucking shit, this may just be me biased, but even the goddamn hairs on my fucking butthole were up. Frisson shit. To me, they just had like a wave of sound that just went over you, and the last time I kind of felt that was like 2006 when I saw Dredge Download. It was just like a beautiful sonic show, and so was that. They played shit off of the new album Clairvoyant, they played stuff from Language, and weirdly enough they played stuff from Exoplanet, which I wasn't expecting at all. I don't know whether that's because they've been getting some flack recently from their fans, but it just worked. I don't know why it worked, it just did. It was fucking awesome.
Going down then? Has it been like
so
the backlashes have just been playing just stuff off the new album?
No, I think it's more that their old album was heavier.
Right.
So the first album, well, I don't think it's first album.
Yeah.
The older stuff was heavier. Since, like, so Intrinsic was a little bit more proggy after that. Then Language was a lot lighter than that, and Clairvoyant is. Some people have already said that it's almost like almost like an indie album. I don't give a shit. They're just fucking sweet at what they fucking do. Every single member of that band is just top of the game. Singer Michael Lessard is just fucking incredible live. I wasn't quite sure what he was mumbling throughout the entirety of it, but it kind of went. Terry, what do you think?
Yeah, that was fantastic. Considering I've only heard Clairvoyant, I haven't delved into the back catalogue. That really, really impressed me. I was, they were tighter than a 60-year-old's nun's fanny for me. It was absolutely fucking spot on, the lot of them. Musicianship, like you said, Luke, the wave of, and the tone and everything, the wave of sound, the tone they had coming out of them guitars was such a warm sound, kind of lapped over you. And my only thing, I think I said it to you, Luke, when I was in there, my only other thing was I just wish it had been a bit darker and have had their own kind of lights. And I know it's a festival and everything, but I'd like to see them with their own little setup, their own lights and everything, and backdrops and visuals and all the rest of it. But yeah, as a great performance. Jay?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm going to echo a fair bit your thoughts there, Terry. So the tracks with vocals, really, really good, solid wall of sound. Some of the drums you just kind of felt almost kind of reminded a bit of Tool drumming at one point. It was like it was like building up to a crescendo, and then like little sort of tickles of the cymbal, and it was getting bigger and bigger. Like, this is building up to something massive. And yeah, what you said about the light shows, I very much thought, Terry, because when they did the more introspective instrumental pieces, and it kind of links back to what I'm talking about, Bleed From Within and showmanship, is even the singers just kind of like stood at his keyboard, and then the other keyboard player stood at his keyboard, and all they had was just a basic, like I say, it's a festival, it's a small festival, so I'm going to cut up some slack, but I think if I saw them play at, say, Rock City, like we've seen with Sugar, I'd expect them to bring a shit-hot laser set, so that when they're playing those quiet instrumental bits, you've got something to focus on. Because if you've not got a singer with a microphone, you need to be able to watch something, and if you're literally watching the singer and the keyboard is facing each other, heads down, it's not engaging the audience. So you need something to engage the audience to kind of gel with the music. I think you're absolutely bang on, but I'm sure that as they get bigger, and the same as Lou, the early material's heavier, the more recent material is lighter. I don't mind that. I like to listen to stuff like that on a weekend, on a Sunday, if I'm like before I go back to work. But yeah, I if it gets them a bigger audience, it means they've got a bigger budget to have a better light show, and they broaden out because they're not just heavy stuff. That can only be a better thing for them. So overall, really impressed. But yeah, if we talk about stagecraft, they need a better light rig for the quieter introspective tracks.
Interesting what you say there about Sunday is that Clairvoyant actually dropped when I first moved house last year.
Really?
And so I was just listening to that on fucking loop whilst I was just doing shit around the house. So that just got me like completely absorbed into it. But I do find, so when you say about the laser show and things, there was a lot of times there where I just had my eyes closed. And I was just, the hairs on my arms were up, and I wasn't even watching. Just sounded beautiful. But yeah, we're going to close off this and back to the podcast.
So we're now on Saturday. and we were thankful enough to be hit up with a few interviews. Not only did Rachael from ENSO hit us up with Fractions, but I was messaged by James and Hannah at Hold Tight to do a couple of interviews, like off the back of really no interest. So thank you for them.
Definitely.
But as well as that, we had someone else helping us, and it's someone that we've known for ages, Terry.
Yes, it's my good friend Shaun from Loki Films. You may have seen him running about all over Techfest. It's the guy with the J.
Great big bushy beard.
That's the one. You'd have seen him running about with a very, very expensive camera in his hand.
Red camera, used in films.
Yes. But he was literally all weekend pulling me about left, right and centre, introducing me to everybody he could, which I'm eternally grateful for. But yes, he literally, after Valis Ablaze played, he grabbed me, took me around the back, non-sexual by the way, and he introduced me to Ash, and then we set up a little
Impromptu interview.
Yeah, impromptu interview with Ash from Valis Ablaze, and it went down great guns. It was a brilliant lad, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he was a really nice bloke.
Yeah, it was cool. So yeah, we're just going to go straight into that now. So here's Ash from Valis Ablaze.
Hey, so we're here with Ash, the guitarist from Valis Ablaze. They played a great set earlier, really atmospheric and beautiful, but heavy as fuck at the same time. I was well into it. So firstly, how does it feel to play Techfest? I know you've played before. I think I caught you last year or maybe the year before.
Yeah, this is the third year we played actually. We played 2014 with a different lineup and a completely different sound. In essence, the older lineup was kind of System of a Down meets Meshuggah, and I know it was quite difficult to pull that off well on record, but live it was fun, and yeah, it got us places. And then we had a lineup change in 2017, a sound change as well. We've realised we could have fun and also kind of try and appeal to a wider audience as well. And it's worked very well, because this year we're back now on the main stage, and the room looked pretty busy. Yeah.
Cool. So going off of that, Techfest, what a hot venue. Is it the hottest that you've ever played, or can you think about any others?
One of our first ever show as a band, we played in this pub in Bristol called The Griffin. It's a small triangular venue. It's about 50 capacity, and the aircon broke, and it was actually hotter than here, but it wasn't as humid as it was inside there. But that beats it just. But yeah, as you can tell, I'm
I think we're all saturated through. But that's real cool, because I can't imagine how bad that is with the lights as well.
Yeah. Actually, the lights we've got are quite low kind of output in terms of heat. I couldn't really feel the lights behind me because it was just hot everywhere. But,
cool. So we're going to ask a bit of a background question now. So who's your favourite artist and how they've influenced you in your playing?
I guess of all time, probably James Hetfield. I've always wanted to be a front man, but I didn't quite have the voice. And then when I gave it a go, I struggled to kind of sing and play guitar at the same time. So I kind of used that to best kind of write, rhythms and melody. Things I couldn't play. I was like, well, someone else can play or can sing, that kind of thing. So, in terms of, I'm just trying to think. And Metallica were probably the first heavy band I really got into, and I could play all of their songs and that kind of stuff, but I just, in more recent times, I guess Periphery are probably up there, they're my number one. Largely because it's just a good mix of heavy technicality, melody, and it's not just kind of, for the sake of it all. The albums are quite mixed, even the concept album, they're very dynamic. And that's something that I want this band to be as well. Dips and swells.
Yeah, I think Metallica, for kind of our age range, is always going to be the first band that we all get into.
Well, Hetfield's the down-picking king, isn't he?
Yeah.
You can't.
And like Periphery, from a technical standpoint, they just came out of nowhere, and I know that they were like influenced a lot by Sixth back in the day, who played last night. So yeah, my last question that we've got, our podcast is kind of about music being like a creative output and cathartic, and helps you through like times of need and things like that. Can you think of any time that either yourself or any of your band members like really picked out a piece of music or a band or someone that's just helped them out?
Yeah, I think all of us have had that experience actually. For me, again, it's kind of it's a guilty pleasure, but I don't know. I basically had like I think my very first ever girlfriend, like proper girlfriend outside of school. Yeah, we broke up, and for some reason that Creed album, Weathered, really stuck with me. And yeah, I know they get a lot of stick, and I know it's God rock or whatever, but yeah, I think just not necessarily as lyrics, but overall as songs, they kind of really stuck with me and really helped me. And you know, I know a lot of people give Creed stick, but that's something that I'm happy to admit. It was just an album that I picked up when I needed it. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't think it's necessarily like a guilty pleasure if you just like, you know what, it just worked and spoke to me at that particular time, and well done to them. But yeah, that's all the time we've got. Thank you very much for that, Ash. You doing any tours coming up?
We're playing a festival in mainland Europe that I can't reveal the name of, but you probably know. And we are working on some mainland European dates with a band that we've just done a UK tour with recently, Unprocessed. They played yesterday. They're miles ahead of us in terms of ability, and they're really good fun, good sense of humour. They're quite young as well, so it's nice for us to kind of go out and because if we're the headliner or we're just doing a tour by ourselves, we might get early nights, but those guys are quite young, they're keen to see the town and stuff, and to be honest, we are too. We just need an excuse, so
That's awesome. So I think yeah, we're done. Let's get out of this sun because it's burning. It may have been a bad decision to do it outside, to be fair, but yeah, back to the podcast.
So yeah, that was a cool interview that we managed to get. Thank you again to Shaun. What's coming up on the next Techfest episode? Because we unfortunately had to split it into two because we just got like so much audio that I kind of don't want to not put in an episode, especially considering we're new. So I just want to share all that we've got, really.
But we're thankful for what we've got, and we didn't expect as much as we got.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, we're thankful for everything that was thrown our way, and we gobbled it up basically. So yeah.
And we got a few more interviews and a load more reaction audio clips to put into the next episode. We ain't going to tell you because I don't want to. So we'll see you next time.